Welcome to another episode of Good Teams Win, Great Teams Cover. Thanks for joining us for what is our Week 13 preview episode. The weeks are just flying by as we're getting into the home straight of the NFL season, regular season for 2023. We kick off this week with our Guest Picker segment presented by Fantasy Gameday. Just a reminder, Fantasy Gameday is the brand new daily NFL fantasy game available in the UK by British fans for British fans. Go in, enter the competition, set your lineup of your favourite NFL stars, watch as the points come in, and you could walk away with a cash prize. Top 20% of entries each week get a cash prize, and the winners the last few weeks have been rolling away with well over £100 each. Go download it now from your App Store, Apple App Store, Google Play Store, whatever it is you use, and make sure you register if you've not played before using promo code COVER. All capital letters, Charlie, Oscar, Victor, Echo, Romeo. And once you've entered for the very first time, your account will be credited with a free game. So it's a 2-for-1 or buy one, get one free, whatever you want to call it. Make sure you're play along with us. We play every week. It's a fantastic game and help the guys grow it because it should be the number one daily fantasy game in the UK. It is in our hearts, but certainly it's a great game to get involved. Our guest picker this week, we are joined by Matthew Smith. Matty, welcome to Good Teams and Great Teams Cover. Pleasure to have you on. First of all, how are you doing and how are you feeling about being our guest picker this week?
Mate, thank you for having me. First of all, absolutely honoured to be here. I'm very excited. Now, for anyone that has seen me on anything else, make any predictions or picks for anything, you'll probably know roughly how terrible my record is so far. For anyone that hasn't seen, just for a little insight into the madness, before everything kicked off, I said the Los Angeles Chargers were going to win the Super Bowl. So that is how well we're doing right now. I can see Paul's disappointment just as the hope fades from his eyes because he's like, who have I just invited on the show? But no, I'm good, man. Thank you for having me.
It happens every year, though. People fall in love with the Chargers. They should be really good. They've got the players. They should be great, but they're not.
I got so caught up in it. I let myself get caught up in the hype, and I was like, I'm not going to do this. And I was like, right, okay, if we're doing this, we're doing this. And they're bottom of the division, so it's going well.
Yeah, which is why I didn't even think they'd be that bad. But yeah, I think you'd get on well with Byron from our show as well. I think he had the Chargers at something ridiculous like 14-3, and they may have won the division. I don't know. He'll correct me later, I'm sure. But yeah, they're just really bad, aren't they? Which is a shame.
Yeah,
but
it's not gone well.
The beauty of the NFL, I guess. Hopefully, your picks in the FourFold challenge will be a lot more successful than that Chargers take. Matt, you've got a lot of great stuff going on at the minute. You along with it's all the Niners guys, isn't it? You, Alec, Gary, all running a fantastic show on the Let's Talk Sports Network before the game, before the early kickoffs on a Sunday. Tell us about the show you've got running at the minute.
Yeah, so we are all Niners fans. We obviously try and be as unbiased as possible, which is why, because to be fair, I'm a 49ers fan, but I try and just be like a fan of the league. Like I just love the whole product. I love watching as many games as possible. Like I almost feel like it's kind of nicer watching games where you don't have like a dog in the fight, right? Because then you don't have to worry about anything. You're not getting stressed about the result. It's all calm. So yeah, we obviously try and be as unbiased as possible. But yeah, over on the Let's Talk Sports Network, the YouTube channel, we have a NFL from around the UK podcast. We try and there's an episode every Sunday called the Sunday Roast, because what is more UK British than the Sunday Roast? And then there's a midweek episode as well. We pre-recorded one yesterday, and that's going to be going live, I think 9 p.m. this evening over on the Let's Talk Sports channel. So yeah, check it out. We just kind of make picks. We try and preview and review as many games as possible. We have a lot of guests, obviously UK fans from like loads of different fan bases, to get kind of everyone else's perspective across the league as well. Obviously, as much as we try and talk about everyone, it's really hard covering like 32 teams when they've all got their own stuff going on. So it's really cool getting to talk to other fans as well. So yeah, that's my main thing at the moment. Really enjoying it. It's not made me any smarter a football fan. Like I know we talked about this off there. I really thought it would, but no, it hasn't. But yeah, really enjoying that at the moment. It's really good. You should definitely check it out if you haven't.
Yeah, excellent. Make sure if you're not already, go follow the Let's Talk Sports network and specifically the YouTube channel. There's loads of great content there, but that's where you'll find NFL Around the UK show. It is brilliant. I came on, I think it was maybe week 4, week 5.
Yes, yeah.
Earlier in the season, had a great time with you and with Alex. With Alec, and I think it was when Gary was running one of his many marathons. So yeah,
he's a busy man, hard to pin down.
is indeed a busy man. All for a great cause as well. But thoroughly enjoyed being on, and I've enjoyed watching it week by week. So make sure you go check the guys out because it's a fantastic show. Let's talk Niners. You've mentioned, obviously, you're in the gear. For the benefit of the people on Spotify who listening who can't see Matty right now. Yes, he's in his Niners gear, and it is without doubt the game of the weekend, or the game of the week. San Francisco 49ers go to Philadelphia to play the Eagles, the 10-1 Eagles, and yet the 49ers are favorites in this game. First of all, how does that make you feel?
I do find that pretty crazy. Like I understand it. Like I've been reading up quite a lot about this because like when I saw that was the case, I was pretty baffled. I won't lie. Obviously, records kind of speak for themselves. But I get there's a lot more that goes into it, and probably again, it's much smarter people than me that are thinking about this stuff. So I'm not going to question it too much. Like I'm going to assume these people know what they're talking about. It does feel weird being favored, especially when the game is in Philly. Like I feel like Philadelphia are a scary team anyway, but going to Philly, I mean, obviously yourself as a Cowboys fan, you understand this, you have to go there every year. It's a pretty scary place to go to. Like it's quite a fan base in Philadelphia. And I feel like, they'll probably make it relatively hostile for anyone attending who's not from Philadelphia. So it's pretty scary. I'm excited. I think this is going to be a massive game for both teams. But I mean, the Eagles are just scary, man. Like they just seem to find a different way to win. Like they seem to just get off to a slow start. And then whether it's their defense stepping up and just stifling the other team, or Jalen Hurts just doing Jalen Hurts things, like they just keep finding different ways to win. So I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a bit scared.
Yeah, I think it's important for the rest of the NFC. When I say the rest of the NFC, the Niners and the Cowboys, and potentially the Lions. And potentially the Lions as well around. I think if Philly win this game, that number one seed's locked.
They're gone.
Got the tiebreaker over the Niners and would be 3 games clear at that point. And then all of a sudden there's a lot less pressure on them coming to Dallas next week. In the next couple of weeks, when they come to Dallas. So, they could almost afford to drop that game. So, I think this is big. I don't know if the line of the fact the Niners being favourites is a reaction to the Eagles have been in some really close games. And some may argue that the Eagles have been lucky to come out of those games winning, but that's what good teams do. They find a way to win games, as you mentioned, right? But they could have conceivably lost all three of those games to the Cowboys, the Chiefs, and the Bills. In the last 3 games that they've played, and this would be a very, very different game if that was the case. The Niners had kind of maybe, I wouldn't say like a mini crisis. They lost 3 in a row earlier in the season. Got the bye came at the right time, and then they've come back with 2 pretty sound performances, hammering the Jags. They beat the Bucks. Let me get it right. The Bucks pretty comfortably, and then on Thanksgiving night, hammered the Seahawks. What your thoughts are? How do you feel about kind of the reaction of the Niners after that kind of mini slide that they had?
Yeah, I think it's probably been about as good as we could have wanted. Like I think like any other sort of Niners fan, was pretty worried that our season had just been like totally derailed. Like, not that I didn't have confidence in this team. Like, I mean, parts of the team were still functioning really well. Like I've been on the Brock train ever since he rocked up in San Francisco, to be fair. But even through that slump, he wasn't playing kind of as well as he had been, but he'd still been having really good games. And like aspects of the team were still playing really well. I think our running game kind of tripped over itself. And when I guess you're a team that is so comfortable of being able to run and make explosive plays that way, when all of a sudden that's not working, that kind of forces pressure everywhere else, and it kind of all went a bit downhill from there. So I think since then I don't really have any complaints. I think we've looked solid, and we look back to the kind of form that we came out of the gates with, which I think was pretty surprising. So I feel like we're in as good a place as we probably could be, like coming into a game like this. So I can't really complain.
Yeah, I think the difference of Trent Williams being back from the injury he had on that line, just throwing people around, it's got that running game going again. He has to have some big games since he's come back. So, I think it's a real good match, but I think, I'm real glad we've got the Niners Eagles in the regular season. I feel we were like robbed of a game in the NFC Championship game because of what happened to Purdy and then Josh Johnson and then Purdy having to come back in, not being able to throw. So
I feel like that will just forever be one of the great what ifs, because that game was going to be so incredible. And then it's like, what are the chances that the third and in fact the fourth quarterback both end up going down? So yeah, that will be one of the great what ifs of the NFL, I feel like, because that could have been a classic.
Yeah, and I think we might get a really good game here. Part of me was like, I'm real surprised this game didn't get flexed into like Sunday Night Football or something, but also glad it hasn't done, because we've seen some really naff primetime games. The Thursday night game, Sunday night, Monday night game are just all low scoring. I think the Sunday and Monday night games are like, it's ridiculous of how many in a row where they've gone under the points total and just been drab game. So kind of glad it's not been flexed, because then we might have got that. So maybe in that just late afternoon slot.
Don't want to jinx it, yeah.
Exactly. Like we got it with Eagles Bills last week, so hopefully we get something similar and biased coming through. But I really need the Niners to pull off this. I
was going to say, I feel like this is one of the few times that the 49ers and the Cowboys are looking at each other and they're like, right, listen, we may not be friends, but I feel like we have someone that we dislike even more. So
yeah, absolutely. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. So
yeah, exactly.
And then that opens it up, and I think it'll just make it exciting down the stretch, because you've got San Francisco will then hold a tiebreaker over Philadelphia and Dallas. Dallas have to play Philadelphia again for the division. It could all go crazy, which is what we want. We don't want to see kind of the Eagles winning the conference.
Yeah, exactly.
15-2 or 16-1, because where's the fun in that? And that's not because I don't like Philadelphia.
Part of me, although I want to win this game, part of me kind of loves if they made it to the regular season and they won, they finished 16-1, and the only people that beat them was a Zach Wilson Jets team. Part of me does kind of love that. I'm not obviously I don't want that to happen, but that would be one of those things that, in 10, 15 years time, we'll look back at that and be like, how was that the game they lost?
I mean, especially if they go on and they're in a great position. If they would go on to win the Super Bowl, and what stopped them having the perfect season was the Zach Wilson Jets.
Zach Wilson, who is currently QB3 at best in New York. What a wild! I mean, like you said, that's why we love the NFL. It's crazy.
Yeah, it should be a good one. I'm going to ask you to make a prediction for the game then on Sunday for San Francisco, Philadelphia. Put it on the line. Are the Niners going to go and win that game?
Well. This semi leans into my picks. But yeah,
okay.
Let's go for it. I've worn this stuff. I can't not go for it. Let's go Niners 27, Eagles 21. I'm gonna.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, I'm feeling it. I've gone for it now. Can't back down.
It's locked in. Yeah, cool. So Niners to win and to cover, which I guess we'll get on in our 4-4 challenge in a second.
Absolutely.
To cover the 2.5. And I think that'll hit the over as well. So that'd be a fun game. I'd like that one. Yeah. 27-21. I'll take that. Let's hope it is. I mean, I'll take the Niners winning 3-0, to be fair. I don't care.
Yeah, literally just any margin. Yeah.
I'll take 2-0. I'll take a safety. A safety and a shutout. I'll take that. But obviously best of luck for Sunday. And really interested to hear you guys talk through the game on your show, pre-game show on Sunday. I'll be interested to hear the thoughts of all three of you guys together. So yeah, interesting one. Let's get into the FourFold challenge then. So just a reminder, if you've not come across our FourFold challenge before, it's our weekly or our season-long competition where every week each one of us will pick a game, a favorite, one underdog to both cover the spread, an over and an under points total, and that'll be a fourfold challenge as a result. Everybody but me has been pretty hot with the fourfold challenge this season. We've had in the 12 weeks we've had so far, so what's that? 12, 48 fourfolds that we've created so far, along with our guests. We've had 8 that have hit. That's a pretty good success rate for a fourfold. Each one somewhere in the region of 11.5 to 12.5 to 1. Depending on the combos you pick. So if you've been tailing us, let's say you bet money on every single fourfold that we've had, you'd be up. You don't need that many to hit to be up. So if you bet $5 on every single one, I think you'd be about 200 quid up so far. So yeah, tail the pick. Tell the picks, you never know. You might cash yourself a winner. So, Matty, no pressure. The guests have been going pretty strong recently. So in the last couple of weeks, we had guests go 4-0. They hit.
Oh dear.
Yeah,
Okay.
Alan Perez. And then we had guests go 3-1 last week. So the guests are in form. So I'm interested to see what you've got for us. Let's start with your favourite. And I don't know if you might have already told us it already, but who is your favourite that you are going for NFL Week 13?
So I have gone for, so just to confirm, because I want to make sure that I'm not going to say this and make myself look like an absolute idiot. So if a team is at like -6, that would be me saying I think they're going to win by more than 6 points, right? Right. Okay. Perfect. Cool. Good. I've prepared for the show as I thought I did. So my favorite. Now you'd think that given my preseason prediction, I would be done backing the Los Angeles Chargers, and I probably should be. But I have even less faith in the New England Patriots. I think the Chargers are going to be the Patriots by more than 6 points. I'm going for it. I don't get me wrong, I've had my fair share of rants about the Chargers this year. Anyone that has watched the NFL Around the UK show, I am getting to the point where even just them being mentioned makes me angry. So if this goes wrong, I'm done with them. There's 31 teams in the NFL. I'm over it. Yeah, this Patriots team just stinks. Like, they really do. Like, I have little to zero faith in the Giants. But even against the Giants, they couldn't get the job done. Like, I can't see the Patriots doing anything in this. And even if the Chargers are faltering, like, there's going to be good quarterback play. There's going to be some explosive offensive plays. I feel like they're going to be able to get the job done here by more than 6. I feel fairly comfortable saying that. Question mark?
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're right. I think you'll be okay this week. I think the Chargers need, they've had a rough run. They've come out of games where the Packers game they should have won.
Yeah.
Herbert played well last week as well against the Ravens, but yeah, just not getting it done. But yeah, I think kind of going to even with it being in Foxborough against the Patriots, I think you'll be okay with this one because the Patriots are really, really bad. Patriots could get to the point here where they could. Well, the games have they won 2? Yeah, I think they're 2.
Only 2, yeah.
Yeah, they're going to be potentially have a top 2, a top 3 pick, I think. And yeah, I mean, Carolina are struggling, so maybe they won't pick out another win for the Bears to knock them down. But yeah, I think you'll be okay with this one. I think this one will hit for you. And Chargers need to do something. It's I think probably too much to do to get back in the AFC wildcard race, but yeah, needs something to have some positivity heading into next season.
Yeah, I feel like kind of whatever happens for the rest of this season, I feel like there are going to be some. I think there are going to be some heads rolling at the end of this season. Like, it really doesn't feel like it's going terribly well. I mean, like again, I know we kind of said this earlier, but it just feels like there was so much expectation around the team, and I feel like expectation is almost worse when you haven't had the success to back it up. Like, I feel like the Bills are kind of in that same thing because now they've kind of had all this hype around them, and not only have they not lived up to the hype, they don't even have kind of the success to fall back on. Like, there's nothing kind of there, which feels almost more painful, I think. So yeah, I like I said, I've had my fair share of gripes with the Chargers this season, but I just have much less faith in the Patriots, which is weird saying that about like a Bill Belichick team, considering his history in the league. But yeah, the Patriots kind of stink. I feel like the Chargers should get this done.
Yeah, I think the Patriot way is dead and buried. I think it just needs a whole new start in New England. So we'll see. So yeah, I like your Chargers pick there. Who's your underdog? Who's going to be your underdog for the week then?
So my underdog, I believe I've worded this correctly, but I may have not done. So feel free to correct me if I haven't. But in keeping with my pick, as mentioned earlier, my underdog is, am I okay to say that I think the Eagles are going to lose to the 49ers by more than 2.5? Does that work?
So that'd be that'd be your favorite. That'd be the Niners as a favorite.
Okay, fine. I can change. Okay, so I can't then choose the Eagles to win because then I've made myself look very silly.
So I mean, you could have like, as long as that so you'd have the Niners winning by 1, the Niners winning by 2. As long as the Niners didn't win by 3.
Let's not do myself dirty than that. I think let's go for it. I'm gonna go for the LA Rams are going to beat Cleveland by more than 3.5. Let's
Okay,
do it.
cool.
They're 3.5 points. Because I think the Rams are one of those interesting teams. Again, not just because they're the same division in the 49ers. I promise I pay attention to more football than just my one division. But they're kind of like a sneaky, frisky team, you know? Like some of their, considering where we thought they were going to be coming into this season, and everyone thought they were going to be pretty horrific. They've got a good spine. Like obviously some of the veteran players they've got are incredible, and they've still got a couple of players left over from that Super Bowl win. But having uncovered kind of good players like Puka Nacua, like he has come out of absolutely nowhere and is rivaling, if not bettering, Cooper Cup even when he's fit. So they're kind of a sneaky, frisky team. And the Browns, like their defense is legit. Don't get me wrong, that defense is scary. Again, from a 49ers point of view, I'm fully aware that defense is scary. But on offense, now they don't really offer too much. Obviously, Deshaun Watson is out. I believe the QB2 is now also out, right? So they're down to QB3 now. So, I mean, I just don't see them maybe putting up as many points as I feel like the Rams can.
Yeah, I think we're down to DTR. Darren Roberson got knocked out of the game last week. PJ
That's the
Walker
one, yeah.
came in. Yeah, it's a tough one, and I think the Browns are going to need more. And that defense showed signs last week that it was starting to falter, which is harsh because they've been so good against the Broncos last week, but they just couldn't sustain anything offensively. They needed something to keep going. I think the Rams could score quick here, quickly and score a lot here. Obviously, they beat up on the Cardinals last week. Matt Stafford looked good. Kyron Williams returned at running back, and they ran all over the Cardinals. So, yeah, could be one where, the Rams run wild. And the Rams are in the race for a playoff spot in the NFC as well, because somebody's got to take that 6th and 7th seed. It's going to be Dallas or Philadelphia who get the 5th seed, depending how the NFC East works out. But seed 6 and 7, or the 6 and 7 space, is wide open because Seattle are faltering and they've got a tough schedule. The Rams have beaten them twice. They hold a tiebreaker over. The Rams could get in. Is it Minnesota? Is it Green Bay who are coming now? Sorry, my voice is going. Is it the Green Bay Packers who are starting to surge? So yeah, it's wide open. So cool. The Rams. We'll take that. Let's go to your under first. So where are you going to see? Where do you think we're not going to see very many points?
I feel pretty confident in this, and I have a feeling I might not be the only one, but again, I might be. But I think Falcons Jets will be under 34 points total. As much as, I mean, don't get me wrong, the Falcons have some serious weapons, but I have next to zero faith in Arthur Smith and his whole thing. And the Jets can't score any more than 6 points in a game at the moment, so I don't trust the Falcons to score 28. Is kind of where my logic is going with this. Like, I don't trust either offense. Like the weapons are there and like they've got the ability to make the plays. It just doesn't feel like either team are going to do that.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. And Atlanta squeezed past New Orleans last week in a big key divisional game. And yeah, this just feels like it's going to be a pretty putrid game with kind of the way the Jets are at the minute. I think we're going to see Tim Boyle again at quarterback for the Jets, which is rough.
Yeah, we started the season thinking we're going to be seeing Aaron Rodgers in New York lighting up, and we're down to Tim Boyle. It's going well.
Yeah, a real rough one. I think some people need to try. The Jets need to find some wins for people to save their jobs because I think it's going that badly that we might see a clear out.
Yeah, I think there's going to be some. I think this season's been pretty brutal on some teams. Like I think there's going to be a fair few head coaching roles and stuff come the end of this season. Like I think moves are getting made this year. It feels like.
It feels like we've seen 2 fired already, and it feels like there's maybe another 4 or 5 that are already know that they're going to be going. And never mind, maybe a couple that we don't see coming. So yeah, I like that one. Falcons Jets under, not over. Let me put it in the right box. Don't want
that. If anyone's predicting over 34, you're a better person than me. I tell you, good effort.
I always get worried when the totals are that low. I always sit back and look. Surely in the NFL, they'll find a way to score 30, in this case, 34 or 35 points. I bet a college game last week. It was Iowa. I think I want to say it was Iowa, Nebraska, and the line was over under 26.5 points.
Oh, I mean, I think the thing is like when you think like if they get a single touchdown and get the extra point as well, like that's already 7. You're like, come on, 4 quarters, that's got to be doable.
Yeah, but yeah, it wasn't. So I think it finished 13-10 that game. So it goes to show. Oof. Yeah, comfortably under. So yeah, about like that, I think you'll hit here. And then where are the points going to be then? Which game's going to hit the over for the week, Matty?
No. I don't know how I feel a bit dirty saying this is 49ers fan, but I think Seahawks Cowboys are going to go over 47.5. I'm putting faith in your guys. I hate handing out this praise, but it's got to be done. I think Dak Prescott has been really good this year. Like even in the game against the Eagles, I thought he was playing some pretty lights out football. He's been really impressive, like actually starting to use his legs again. Like he's been starting to like scramble and make plays that way as well, which I think has been wicked. Obviously, CeeDee Lamb is having a year and a half. Like the team is playing really well, and they seem to be doing really well at, I guess, kind of like similar to the Dolphins, like they're beating up on teams that aren't in a good moment right now. And if there's one team that is not in a good moment right now, the Seahawks are in a bit of a funk. So I'm sure the Seahawks will put up points in this game. Like I don't think they're just going to get totally blown out, but I have faith in the Cowboys offense having a big game. Like that's kind of how I see this going. Like I feel like the Seahawks might get 10-13 maybe, but I think it's going to be another Cowboys offense is going to go off and they're going to rack up some points here.
Yeah, it feels like the Seahawks defense is really, really struggling, whether they're banged up. You know, they had a really strong secondary and that seems to have waned a bit, and they're particularly poor against the run at the minute, even though they made a splash trade at the deadline for Leonard Williams from the Giants. So, yeah, I agree. The Cowboys are hot at the minute. You know, I'm not getting too carried away with the Cowboys because until they beat a team that's good, won't get too excited. But maybe the Seahawks, that would probably be the best win that they've had if they beat the Seahawks.
Yeah, because I didn't realize, again, like I'm not just trying to like meme or rub anything or anything, but I did not realize that every single Cowboys win has been against a team that is like below 500, right? Is that correct? Like, that seems mental. Like, I mean, I know obviously they've got like a good few wins and stuff, and to be fair, they have played well, like some of the time when they've come up against big teams. Like I said, that Eagles Cowboys game, especially on that final drive, I was literally sat there thinking, I was like, they're going to do it. Like they're going to beat the Eagles. And then it just kind of guttingly got taken away from them. But yeah, I just found that like a crazy stat. Like they genuinely haven't like beaten up anybody good, which is kind of why I feel like I compare them to the Dolphins. I feel like I see those teams very similarly right now. They really stat pad and kind of blow up these smaller teams. And then as soon as they play someone good, they kind of just forget how to football, it feels like.
Yeah, I think they're in a better place now, and they're going to get a couple of tests, Dallas, before the end of the season. They're going to play the Lions, who I think we unanimously say are good. They're going to get to play the Dolphins, and they're going to get to play the Bills, who aren't obviously great, but they're still a good football team. So they're going to get kind of 3 tough games to finish the season. And this, I mean, look, this is probably, this might not be an easy one, but I just think at home, it's 13 straight games Dallas have won at home. They put up 40 points at home more than anybody. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if this is, another, maybe not quite 40 against the Seahawks, but maybe early 30s. So, yeah, it's just the Seahawks going to score enough to get it over the 47.5, which maybe they will. We shall see. But it should be a good one. And hopefully, a good Thursday night football game. So, that's your FourFold. Best of luck with it, Matt. We'll see how you're getting over the weekend. You can keep your eyes peeled, and everyone can keep their eyes peeled on all our social media channels. Make sure you're following us on Twitter, X, whatever you call it, your preferences. Instagram, our YouTube channel as well, all at GTW_GTC. And make sure you follow our TikTok account as well. We've got a TikTok account. I don't know if you've seen it, Matty, or ever had the chance. We've got a dog making game picks. So
excellent. He's definitely, the dog's definitely doing better than me. I'm just going to throw that one out there already. So I have faith in the dog, 100%.
Yeah, Charlie the dog is doing a great job so far. So you can check him out over on our TikTok as well. We've resorted to gimmicks already. So. To try and get people to watch. But make sure you go give Matty a follow. You can follow him at Smith99 over on Twitter. Also, go give the NFL Around the UK page, which is also on Twitter. We'll pop that in the episode details. A follow on Instagram as well. I've seen it there. We'll pop all the links in the episode details. And make sure you catch the guys. They've got the Sunday roast pregame show over on the Let's Talk Sports YouTube channel before the 6 o'clock games, and also got the midweek show as well. So make sure you go check them out. Matty, it's been a pleasure. Best luck and enjoy your week 13.
Mate, thank you very much for having me. This has been it's been good fun, even if I mildly misunderstood one of the picks. But no, mate, this has been good fun. I'll be keeping an eye on these all weekend. I can guarantee these are going to be, because I know next episode of the NFL Around the UK show, if I get these wrong, I know I'm in trouble. So yes, mate, I will be keeping my eyes peeled. But thank you very much for having me, man. Been a pleasure.
No worries. I will hand over to Joe, Byron, and myself as we go through the Smith there from NFL Around the UK on the Let's Talk Sports Network as being our guest picker. Best of luck to Matty with his picks. We'll see if he can become the second guest to go 4-0. We roll on with our preview. I'm joined just by Byron this week. Joe can't make it as we head into week 13 in the NFL. Byron, how are you doing, first of all? Just me and you today.
Yeah, all good, yeah. I mean, Joe might not be here, but I think it's only fair that we take on the San Fran fan stance for him this week. We don't want to lose that from the show, especially this week. So I'll put my 49ers bobble hat on.
Yeah, we're all 49ers this week. It's been a very 49ers heavy show because Matty's also a big 49ers fan. So, yeah, I suppose it balances out with Joe not being here, I guess.
Yeah, we'll do our part.
So we touched on 49ers Eagles in the first part with Matty, but we're going to take a deeper look at it as our main game of the week to preview for week 13. Let's start there, Byron, before we get into everything else. 49ers Eagles, it's the Sunday late afternoon game. 49ers are 2.5-point favorites going into Philadelphia. Over unders 46.5. We touched a little bit on it on the preview yesterday. They were a little bit shocked maybe that the Niners were 2.5-point favorites. Do you think that's right? I suppose first of all, do you feel Niners should be favorites going into Philadelphia?
I think I think 1.5, 2.5 points is about right though, because it's hard to see this as a blowout. Both teams are so good, both so strong on both sides of the line. I think the 49ers should just be favored because I think they've got a better team. I think the Eagles, we touch on it. It feels like every week kind of scrape by and just get these wins out and, places where it feels like they're not going to. I'm not sure if San Fran have quite got the soft underbelly that some of the other teams have got that luck, it feels like, against. And I know, winning isn't necessarily luck, but it feels like the Eagles seem to, get the right side of the coin a lot, certainly, when it comes to the end of game scenarios. And that is a skill, but it's not a skill that will last forever. So I think the 49ers are rightly just favoured, but I think it's one of the games of the season and it's a real pick 'em type game.
Yeah, I think this year we're going to get the game that we didn't get in the NFC Championship game when the Niners had all the problems with the quarterback injuries. I think we're going to get the game that we would have got then. Real looking forward to this. I think this has got huge. I think this could end up being the game of the season. We've had a couple of really, really good games recently. Eagles, Bills, Lions, Chargers was incredible. Some of the Texans games, the finishes in particular have been great. But I think this could be huge and a blockbuster game. And I'm really glad. I talked to them the other day, maybe, well, how did this not get flexed? But I'm kind of glad it didn't because the games in prime time have been pretty woeful as a whole, as a general rule. Not just this year, but for the last couple of years. So, I feel actually it's a good decision to not flex this out because I will just be watching this game. I won't be watching Red Zone. At the time, maybe I'll have it on the side. But, because the other two games at the time, I think we're just down to 3 games, aren't we? In the league?
3 games, yeah. It's Rams, Browns, and Panthers, Bucks. So
I'll be focusing my attention on this one.
Very much so, yeah. I'm not that interested to see how the Frank Reichless Panthers do. I'll check it out, certainly, but in real time, it's all going to be 49ers Eagles. And it's obviously two best teams in the NFC this season going head-to-head and such huge, end-of-season permutations based on how this game goes as well. Can the Eagles lock up the NFC and the NFC East? Or do Dallas come back into it? Does San Fran come back into it? Do the Lions come back into it for that number 1 seed with an Eagles loss? It's huge for the rest of the season.
I think it is massive, and I think really easy to say. The Eagles win this, it's done. There's no back to it. But all of a sudden, if we get to a position where, they are, we're looking at 1 game behind now, 2 games behind, 1 game behind. Eagles will be 10-2, won't they? And then Dallas take care of business. They're 1 game behind, and then all of a sudden that rolls into that huge Philadelphia Dallas game. Which is the end of that sort of murderer's row for the Eagles in terms of their schedules. And all of a sudden, the NFC East is back in play as well as the number 1 seed. Eagles win, it shuts it all down, division's done. And then they can afford to lose that game against Dallas, Philadelphia as well at that point, which is...
Absolutely, yeah. And they'll get a bye week and a week 18 rest week potentially as well. Like, it's all exactly what you would want as Philadelphia.
Yeah. Where do you see kind of the real, probably obvious question to ask, bro? Where's the battle won and lost here?
I think the biggest aspect for me is, and we never got to see this play out in the NFC Championship game, is can Brock Purdy attack downfield against the Eagles? Because the Eagles have left themselves a little vulnerable in the passing game recently. Brandon Ayuk's having a great season. Debo's back and fully firing. George Kittle's always got a big game in him. CMC is obviously as deadly as any running back in the game. The Niners offense is healthy. Trent Williams is back. I think give him a little time, and Brock Purdy, he had that little spell where they lost 3 in a row of the turnovers were coming out, and he does have a relatively high turnover rate of plays that just don't always end up in turnovers. He has that kind of Midas touch, it feels like, of things fall where they shouldn't, and he'll throw it into double coverage and it ends up in Brandon Ayuk's hands. If he can continue that, I think that's really the key to the Niners winning this game is, I think the line battle is going to be crucial, but I think what he can do downfield is going to differentiate whether the Niners can pull away or not.
Yeah. I think in terms of, for me, and again, obviously, I think that what we've seen from the Eagles is they've got a problem turning the ball over. A huge problem turning the ball over. And, and Jalen Hurts is having he's having a good season. I wouldn't say great. He's probably going to be an MVP, but I think he's got a problem turning the ball over. And that, I think, will be heightened with the pass, obviously, the Niners' defensive front. I think the Eagles' O-lines looked pretty ordinary the last few weeks. I don't know if that's fair to say. It's come alive at times to help support drives, but I think it's looked pretty ordinary. Some guys look... we've highlighted Jason Kelce doesn't look like the first ballot Hall of Famer center, one of the best centers in the NFL. He's looked human. Obviously, Lane Johnson's been injured, banged up, and I think they can be got at. And Hurts does have the ability to bail out and evade, but doesn't seem to be happening as often. And you put him under pressure. Obviously, these Niners, I think they're the top. I think they're third ranked for takeaways. They've got 21 takeaways on the year. This Niners defense, and where I think obviously Philadelphia are tail off. So I think Philadelphia will have to have a clean game, because I think what will happen here is the Niners will punish those turnovers with touchdowns, unlike other teams have done, maybe settle for field goals or not actually taking advantage of it with points at all. So I think the Eagles have got a bit of a problem there, and I think it's one that the Niners can exploit. And
I think again the health of the Niners is so important there, because feels like everyone on that D-line is fit and firing. Obviously, they lost Hufanga in safety, but that front seven is fit and firing. And the Eagles' O-line is maybe feeling a little rundown. And, another unit that could do with a bye week that isn't coming. And, well, it is coming if they get number 1 seed, but, it isn't coming the rest of the season, in the regular season. So I wouldn't be looking forward to, Chase Young, Nick Bosa, Armstead, etc. coming at me all game. And obviously Javon Hargrave back on home turf.
Don't say it. Don't say the R word.
Wouldn't dare. Just not a... if you're Jason Kelce, you just had one of your roughest weeks of the season last week, and again, he looked like he was struggling at the end of that Bills game. Is Javon Hargrave who you want to be facing?
Yeah. I think part of that is that the run they've had against really good teams, because they've faced Cowboys line, the Chiefs line, the Bills got at them last week. Yeah. So I think it's just a bit of an accumulation of that as well. These are good lines that they're playing. I'm not suggesting that Philly line is bad at all, or it's become bad overnight. I think they're just struggling a bit, and they need a bit of an easy game to kind of get going again. But they're not getting one. And they've got the Niners and then the Cowboys again. So and maybe we'll see it this week, and this will be the difference, that kind of that O-line struggling a bit, and kind of the Niners, and then hopefully the Cowboys can go to town on it, and that'll be the kind of the divisive factor. Where are you leaning in terms of, obviously it's 2.5, we'll talk about in detail in the ATS picks, I guess, or we'll reveal it, but I suppose, do spoilers here
No
sometimes.
harm, right?
Sorry?
No harm revealing it early for one.
Exactly. Where you leaning?
I've gone the Niners. I just think they're right now a better team, and going to Philly isn't easy, but it only needs to be a field goal win. And for a lot of the reasons you've said there, the D-line of the Niners getting pressure on Jalen Hurts making errors. And I just think that 49ers, those passing weapons getting downfield, I think it's just going to be too much for Philly. Certainly not a writing off Philadelphia. 49ers are a great team. And I do think there's some slight issues as well that have come up a lot in the last few weeks of the Eagles OC seeming a little out of his depth. Obviously, since Shane Steichen left last year, it is Jalen Hurts' old quarterback coach. So there's obviously a relationship there, but it just feels like the Eagles offense is kind of certainly not hitting, on all cylinders, kind of getting through games, which, as long as you're winning, it's hard to really poke holes at a 10-1 team, but it does feel, like I say, I think there is a loss coming.
Yeah. I agree. I think they've been fortunate, and I never say lucky. I think maybe you can get taken out of context when you say lucky. And I've been critical of the refs in a couple of games, especially that last one. Talked about Darius Slay, how he's not been flagged for several pass interference or holding calls or illegal contacts. I don't know, but anyway. But yeah, I've gone the Eagles just until they lose one of these games. I'm going to keep backing them to win, I guess. I'm not keep because I haven't been, but I think now I'm not. Until they lose one of these games, I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to ride the Eagles. Hopefully I get my touch is the one that
curses them.
Yeah.
I did have a good fact I seen someone had dug out. In the last 20 years, there has been 3 10-1 teams that have been home underdogs. They are 1 and 2 straight up and 1 and 2 against the spread. There's only 3 of them, and it goes back to 2004. So, not a huge data sample size, but I was surprised there was that many. To be honest, like 10-1 teams, you don't expect to ever be home underdogs.
Yeah.
But yeah, this will be the 4th one.
Nice. Okay. Interesting. It's a good start for us. It's a very good start for us. I've got a stat. I've only got one game-related stat for this, which you think I'd have a load of it being such a big game, but I'm going to save it for later because it backs my FourFold pick up. So that's what we're going to go for.
Looking forward to it.
Let's talk. I suppose, Fantasy Game Day for this one because I think we're going to see a lot of teams based around one or the other or a mixture of both.
Yep. I don't know if I'm captaining CMC, but I certainly want him in my lineup. At his price, it's hard not to captain him when you go with him. But CMC, I think, is due for a big game. I think I'd lean Ayuko over Debo just because I think they're going to get more attacks downfield than at the line of scrimmage. But it's always hard to say that any of the 49ers big 4 are bad options. And again, Kittle can easily go for 80 and a couple of touchdowns in any given week. I don't think I'd be putting him in this week just because, a game of fine margins, there's as good a chance that they leave him in to block on the line more than they usually do because it's so important. So again, I probably wouldn't be picking him. I struggle to say I don't be picking any Eagles players, I must say. If I'm going one again, I'm probably just going to splash out on AJ Brown. Not knowing whether Goddard's back. There is talk that he might be back this week because obviously he didn't go on IR. If Goddard's definitely out, Devonta Smith's always a good play. He seems to shine when Goddard's not there, just having that really narrow passing game, and he will be the cheaper of the 2 wide receivers. But I must say, my lean at this point is to lean away from Philadelphia and try get CMC, try get Brandon Ayuk in, and hopefully we can fit a lineup around those 2.
Yeah, so McCaffrey 7,600. Ayuk's going to cost you 6,200. If you did want to go Philly, AJ Brown 7,200. If you're going to take any of the quarterbacks, Jalen Hurts is the most expensive quarterback this week at 7,800. With Brock Purdy at 6,600.
Much more like to go with Brock, I must say. I know Jalen Hurts has got your rushing upside there with the push touchdowns, but it's a lot of money, I must say.
It is. Any bets on this one? I suppose any prop bets for this one? Maybe depends. Like if you're going to lean on the ground and try and rush down Philly's throat, which we saw the Chiefs do and the Bills do at times, like they could move the ball on the ground. CMC's rushing yards is 72.5.
Yeah, I'd be happy leaning on that. And maybe even, I don't have the number up right now on DK, but even maybe Elijah Mitchell rushing yards if they go full ground and pound on them. And then, again, this was a market you and Joe hammered a lot early in the season, seemed pretty profitable. It's like San Fran rush attempts. Don't have it on DK, so it's a Bet365 market. But again, that's a line I'd be looking to attack, and then it opens up that play action. It opens up them downfield attacks that I think they're going to hit. But yeah, depending on what the line is for that San Fran total rush attempts, I think that's one I'd be looking to play.
Over under 26.5.
Yeah, I was thinking it'd be about 25. Yeah, so that's one that I'd be pushing. Yeah, 26.5.
Yeah, and I think probably one again. San Francisco, odds are short. It's minus 200 or 1-2 on. 2-1 on. Sorry. San Francisco over half a rushing touchdown.
Yeah, I love that market as well. And, I think it's worth considering as well, essentially, the Eagles did play close to another quarter on Sunday. The Niners had an extra 3 days rest going into the game, playing on Thursday night. They got the turkey immediately after the game. They got that protein straight in there. Didn't have to worry about showering first. I like the Niners to win the first half. Just, I think it's minus 110. But just to win the first half, even come out firing. As well as I have got
minus 1 the spread, but minus 110.
Oh, okay, it was minus half when I looked earlier, so that's why I just had it as to win. But yeah, I think Niners are going to want to lay that early, and I think they probably do. So
I think Eagles have been down in 3 straight games at halftime. So yeah, could be a good shout. Yeah, could be a good shout. Hot start from San Fran. Yeah, cool. Some good shouts there. Yeah, huge game. Can't wait for it, and should be an absolute cracker. This time of the season, these games are huge and they matter, and it's by far and away the standout game of the week, I think, which is why it's the only one we're covering. But all the games matter, and we love all the games because we'll miss it when it's gone.
We will. Right.
Let's talk the rest of the card, and we're going to go through by starting off with our FourFold challenge. Cool. You heard our guest. Matty Smith from the NFL Around the UK show on Let's Talk Sports. His picks are up on the screen on the right-hand side. But if you're watching this, you've already seen them and listened to them. So we'll leave them out, but we'll go through ours. So again, if you're not familiar with the FourFold challenge, it's 1 favorite, 1 underdog, 1 over, 1 under from the slate, hence the FourFold, and we obviously track the scores each week, and the loser, which is me currently, and looks like it's going to be because I've got a lot to make up, will be making a donation to a charity of the winner's choice to a value of somewhere near the difference between first and last place. So I guess better start saving, I think, at this rate. Heading into this week, I'm 19 wins, so 19, 28 and 1. Behind the guests at 25, 22 and 1. Remember when I was just like 1 game behind the guests?
Seems like a while ago now, right?
Yeah.
Well, they had that FourFold 2 weeks ago, and I think that's.
I think they've gone 4-0, 2-2, 3-1 the last 3 weeks. That hasn't helped. Yeah. With Joe 28-18 and 2, and he's 2 games behind current leader Byron at 30-15 and 3. I did not think with the way how Joe started by this point one of us would have caught him. By one of us, I mean you.
Yeah, he had a rapid start. But yeah, I think I hit 2 back to back. FourFold, I think, in weeks like 9 and 10, I think it was. Yeah. Which is obviously a huge help.
Yeah, absolutely. And well done. And keep them coming. Like I said, we've hit 8 in 12 weeks now. So, yeah, like I say, I need to do the maths on it, but I think I shouted out before. So if you basically backed every single one of our FourFold, you'd be profitable by quite a lot because 8, 12 to 1s is, if you back to 5 on every single one, for example, you'd be up. So, yeah. Keep it going.
Probably another 1 or 2 this week.
Yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to hit
4 would be nice.
Yeah.
4 not sure if it's possible if we've got any contradictory ones here.
But I think we've got some contradictory
4 would be nice.
Yeah.
If we go 16-0 in a week, that's when we retire, right?
Yeah, then we'll just quit it. Right. So let's talk through our picks. So we'll start with me as we always do. I'm on the Lions -4 at the New Orleans Saints. I was flipping and flopping. I was going to take the Cowboys, but I was like, I've leaned on the Cowboys a bit much. Let's maybe just move away from that. But I've taken the Lions. The Lions are 4-point favorites on the road against New Orleans. The over-under for that game is 47 anyway, for anyone interested. yeah, basically the Saints don't cover at home 6 in a row. They're 0-6 in the last 6 against the spread at home, New Orleans. So there's a bit that says, yeah, potentially they will break that. But at the same time, the Lions are also great on the road. So we've seen a couple of hiccups at home where they just beat Chicago and score was close, but comprehensively beaten by the Green Bay Packers on Thanksgiving. They've also had 10 days off. The Saints are off the back of that loss against Atlanta, which is a real body blow in that garbage fire of a division. Just love the Lions here.
I fully back it. I've already backed the Lions in real life, just because Saints have got passing game issues. Michael Thomas is out. Chris Olave is in concussion protocol. Most players miss that next game. The vast majority do anyway, so I'm not expecting him back. Rashid Shaheed's probably out this week. I don't know how the Saints keep up with the Lions. I know the Lions have had a couple of bad weeks. This is still a dome game for Jared Goff, which feels important. Even if he's gone on the road, he's still got a dome to play in. I think the Lions are kind of better in all phases of the game. I know the defense has fell off a little bit, but I don't have any concerns of the Saints putting up 20, 25 points here. I don't think that's really in play for them. Yeah. And I don't think they've really got the O-line to, ground and pound and slow the game down enough. I think the Lions just come in and take care of business. And I think it's kind of a Dan Campbell ass-kicking type game for Detroit, truthfully. He's a former Saints coach. I think he'll want to go in there and put his stamp on things. And I think the players have probably had a pretty rough 10 days preparing for this game. Because I think that was probably pretty humiliating for Dan Campbell on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, and I think this is very much like you mentioned there, to get back to basics for the Lions. They abandoned the run very quickly in both those games against the Bears and the Packers. And I think actually we're going to see that flip, and we're going to see a lot of Montgomery. We're going to see a lot of Jahmyr Gibbs. And the Saints aren't great against the run. They have 124 yards a game on the ground. They're in the bottom third of the NFL for rush defense. Lions, we know, one of the top rushing teams in the NFL. Lions put up 20 odd points a game. I think it's 27 points a game. I just don't think the Saints are going to be able to slow them down. The Saints, I suppose it's a bit the Saints. What am I talking about? The New Orleans Saints might be able just to make it a bit messy. I don't know, and a real potential strong under candidate here. But yeah, Saints struggling. Derek Carr, not great. And then he's going to have another couple of weapons out. Yeah, I just don't think this is one where kind of the Saints rally and get a result. I think, Lions -4. And if this went as far as -7, 7.5, I'd probably still feel quite comfortable taking it.
Yeah, that's why I backed it early in the week. I'm kind of surprised it's still at 4. I was thinking it'd be 6, 6.5 by kickoff. So I'm surprised it's not moved yet, I must be honest. But yeah, I think I backed it on Monday as soon as the Lions came out. I saw -4. I'm all over it for the Lions. I nearly put it in here as well, to be honest. I thought there was a lot of good favourites this week, and I think, Lions are certainly one of them.
I think that number as well. So again, just to emphasize how good the Lions are on the road. Lions are 8-2 against the spread in the last 10 on the road, and also that number I think is really, really high. It's 47.
Yeah.
Saints in those last 6 games at home where they've not covered the spread. The under's also 5-1 in those. Yeah. I really love the under, so I'll bet on the under in the Lions.
Yeah, I can see that certainly.
2 real strong bets of the week for me. Byron, you've gone for the Miami Dolphins. They're on the road against Jack Del Rio-less Washington Commanders. The defensive coordinator was let go after the mess that was their defensive performance against Dallas on Thanksgiving. These are the kind of games where we see, Miami beat up on bad teams. They beat up on the Jets. And Tim Boyle, is 9.5 too much when they're on the road to Washington? Or?
I mean, it could well be, I suppose, but it feels like Washington in the towel's gone in season already. Is kind of my takeaway on it. And I think after, Black Friday, where Miami did come out and put a stink down on New York, Sam Howell is not Tim Boyle. I don't want to be making out that's the insinuation, but I do kind of think that Miami will be licking the lips defensively a little to, Sam Howell's going to be throwing the ball 50 times because he always does. I don't think Eric Bieniemy has a rushing plan in his offense, really. I think Jalen Ramsey's going to be looking forward to it. I think the Dolphins pass rushers are going to be looking forward to it, even without Jalen Phillips, unfortunately. And I think Tua has been imperfect recently in terms of throwing picks and fumbles, but I'm not sure you could ask for a softer matchup, really, right at this stage of the season than Washington. Obviously, they've traded away two of the best defensive players. They've just fired the DC. There's no fresh blood coming in to help. I think this could be a huge, probably with my fantasy game day captain, just get Tyreek Hill going. He's on for 2,000. This seems like the kind of game where you get Tyreek 15 targets and see what he can do.
Could he have a 200-yard day? Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't see Washington having a fight in them. I think, if Miami get a touchdown up in the first 5 minutes or, their first 5 minutes of possession, I think it might just be a boat race and they just go 30-7. I think I just don't see Washington keeping up with them, truthfully, unless Tua does start throwing the game away again. Like, the Raiders game they didn't cover and they probably should have done if Tua had just been competent or just being like his normal self. Whereas I just don't worry about it happening again. I think 10 points is a lot, or 9.5. But I just don't think Washington have got it in them to keep up with teams right now. The way they capitulated against Dallas, Miami are a good team, even if they're not. They are still in contention for that number 1 seed in the AFC. They've had a bye recently, and I just think they're in a different level. I think Devon Achane will be back on Sunday as well, and I think it's kind of game where they can run it, they can pass it, they're going to do what they want to Washington, I think.
Yeah, you mentioned the injury to Phillips last week. That was awful. I hate when you see the calf go. It's grim.
The rumble, yeah.
Yeah. But they have they went and signed Jason Pierre-Paul from the Saints practice squad. Interesting, yeah.
Didn't know he was even still in the league, I must be honest. Showed my ignorance a little there. Whose practice squad was he on, did you say?
New Orleans, the Saints.
Yeah, no idea.
Yeah,
I've seen the headline. I'm like, oh, JPP, still around.
Yeah, so we'll see if he gets. It would seem like maybe a good one to get him going in, to get some reps in. Tyreek Hill's 8,800. He's your most expensive fantasy game day player this week. Would you do that? And would you spend the cash on Hill and handcuff him with Tua?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
7,200 for 7,200 Tua is, so you've got almost half your budget. Oh, about 40% of your budget tied up in those two. Yeah.
I think, you've just got to trust yourself to find some budgets, save somewhere else. But we do see, in Fantasy Game Day every week where, I'm not saying this was a budget play, but like Puka Nacua got like 6 points for the winner last week. Your tight end might get 2 points. Just find your cheapest option and bung them in. Like, I know Luke Schoonmaker's not an option this week because he's on Thursday, but like, just find your cheapest tight end and put them in. If they get one catch, you've come out ahead. If you can absolutely smash your other 4 positions that you are paying for.
Yeah, it's just one we went for on Thanksgiving. It didn't really work out, but I think it was sound strategy. Joe, we've not got too much from Joe, no notes, but Joe's gone for the Jaguars -8.5 against the. Back to that. I had the stat for the Commanders Dolphins game. Apologies. It's not a great one. Commanders are 0-4-1 against the spread at home so far this season. They've not covered once at home yet, so I don't think that will start this week.
The last time as well, the Dolphins failed to cover as a 10-point or more favorite away was 2008. That was the second more recent time as well, but it was 2008. Oh. It's only happened once. That was on Friday.
In 15 years, the Dolphins have only ever been 10-point favourites away from home twice.
Friday and 2008. And prior to that, it was 1995. I mean, the Dolphins last 20 years haven't been success-driven, They've been in the same division as the Patriots, and when did last win a playoff game?
Been bad in that time. The Bills, for the majority of that time, have been bad.
10 points is a lot on the road, though.
It is, yeah, that's true.
I was kind of stunned when I seen it, I must be honest.
That is great stat, Byron. Well done.
Cheers.
Well, for finding that one. Joe's on the Jaguars at home to the Bengals. Is there any way the Bengals can be competitive here? The Jaguars are 8.5-point favourites.
Really tough to see. Another one that I considered. I think there's so many good favourites this week, and I think this is another one. 9 points is not much. It's at home. It's Monday night. Yeah, I mean, not spoiling the ATS too much, but I've confidently gone the Jags here as well.
Yeah. So Jags have covered the last 3 at home. So they've turned round their ATS performance at home. So they've covered the last 3 at home. Last 3 at home as a home favourite after going 1-11 in the previous 12 as a home favourite.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think they're in such a good spot for it this week. The Bengals can't get the running game going. They obviously can't get the passing game going with Jake Brown into the helm. Bengals are in the tank as well as Washington are.
Yeah, another one, and then what's that? Jaguars have got to 9 wins. Sorry, they're 8-3 now. Yeah,
that'll be them at 9-3. Yeah,
9-3. And you've got a chance here. The Texans could slip up this week.
Absolutely.
And then you've got the Colts are in a tight one against the Tennessee Titans as well. So yeah, I mean the 2 clear now. Could be more this week. Matt, we've been over Matty's. Let's go for the underdogs. I've gone for the Denver Broncos, actually. Yeah, it ties in nicely. So I've gone for the Denver. I didn't realize that was the link. Should have started that out. I'm on the Denver Broncos plus 3.5. So I'm on Denver Broncos, the hottest team in the NFL.
As a 3.5 point underdog.
As a 3.5 point underdog at the Texans. I think that game last week for the Texans against the Jaguars might have broken them a little bit. It felt like it was there. It was in touching distance to take control of that division, and they just felt agonizingly short.
Yeah.
I didn't really feel short. I thought the Jaguars were pretty comfortable, and it was just that kick at the end. Anyway, but they could have gone and won that game. Momentum on your side if you nail that long field goal to take that game into overtime, as we saw with Philadelphia last week. So yeah, I just think this might be just a bit of a hangover from that. It's at home as well. Not great covering from home. I've just put all my notes away when I had some lovely stats ready for this.
I mean, the 0-3 in the last 3 as a 3 or more point favourite at home. I had that one up for Houston.
Yeah.
That does go back a while because, again, like Miami's a 10-point away favourite. I mean, it's not that drastic. But they haven't been good for a long time either. So they haven't been a favourite of more than 3 points for very often.
Texans are 2-4 against the spread at home this season, so they're not particularly great at home. Yeah. I think just that Broncos defense has stepped up massively. We talked about the other day, Vance Joseph's done a great job turning that round. What was, again, a putrid, worst in the league, has probably come to a middle of the road defense now, which the level they've had to play at to get to a middle of the road defense is huge. And they're really hot for turnovers as well. They've been taking away the ball a lot in kind of this run. They lead the NFL in takeaways now. Defensively, they've got 22, 10 interceptions, 12 fumble recoveries. Again, which is wild when that defense couldn't stop anything.
You go from historic worst to league average, and that's a huge jump.
Yeah, huge jump. And I think a huge part of that is how regular they are forcing turnovers as well. And there's not many freebies they've been getting. They really are forcing these turnovers. So, and I think maybe we might see a bit of a CJ Stroud game where he has a couple of picks. And, the Broncos defense, when they were bad, Broncos have had a really good defense for a really long time, and it's not just all of a sudden that they just had a big drop in talent. They were just playing terribly, and that's talent-wise, they have got quite a good defense. So, and they're playing like that now. So, I think this one might be quite low scoring again. We've seen that from Denver a lot. Some relatively low scoring games this year. So, I think we'll see that again, and I'll take the 3.5.
Yeah. Understandable. Houston do feel like one of them teams you never quite know what you're going to get. CJ Stroud could come out and light this game up, and I wouldn't be stunned. And like you say, could throw 3 interceptions, and they go down 20-10 or 14-10 or something like that in this game as well. I wouldn't be stunned either. So I think it's a big game for him in terms of seeing where he's at. Like you say, last week could be really deflating, but it could also be a kick up the arse and they come out firing this week. Not one I felt hugely confident picking on the ATS, and I haven't picked it as an underdog, but I found underdogs really, really tough to pick this week, so this wouldn't be a stunner.
Yeah, I mean, in the AFC playoff picture, Texans are 8th, I suppose 8th at the minute. They're just outside that wild card spot. We've got the Steelers, Browns, and Colts occupying those 3 wild card spots at the minute. And yeah, you've got Texans and Broncos, the next two, the first two out there. So huge, for that, potential tiebreaker situation. This one, might be very relevant come week 18 when it all shakes out. So yeah, huge game. I just think Denver. I'd never thought I'd be saying this. Denver could be about to win 6 in a row.
Yeah, feels a long way away there when they were losing 70-20. Certainly.
Wow, I think we all owe Sean Payton an apology. No.
Did you see Sean Payton having a scoregami explained this week? It was pretty cute, I thought.
Oh,
it was
no.
like seeing a granddad having the internet explained to them.
Oh.
He couldn't understand why a score was unique. And it just hasn't happened before. And he's like, I can't remember what their score was this week. It was like 29-12, which is
29-12. It was the safety that safety near the end.
And he's like, 29-12's never happened. And no, he's like, oh, I like that one better than the 70-20 one. Which, for Sean Payton, I thought was quite funny. So
yeah, that's good work.
He wasn't just striking out at someone like he normally does.
He's mellowing. You're on the Chiefs +6, Byron.
I wish I was. I'm on Green Bay +6.
Jesus Christ, right in front of me. Let's do that again. Take 2. Byron, you're on the Green Bay Packers +6 at home to the Kansas City Chiefs, which is on Sunday Night Football.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I hated picking an underdog this week. I really struggled.
You've not mentioned it. You've not mentioned it.
I think this is the toughest week we've ever had to pick one. My entire ATS, my initial run through the sheet was 100% favourites. So I was like, well, I need to pick something for the underdog. So I eventually had Philly in, and I was like, well, I'm not picking Philly to win the game. So I'm just going to have one that I don't pick. And I went back and changed San Fran back in there. Ultimately, for the pick I have made, it's Green Bay. It's in Green Bay. Not a great place to travel this time of year. Jordan loves playing the best football of his career. Not a great sample size of that, but he's been improving week on week for the last 3 or 4 weeks. And against Detroit, he was really, really good. The Chiefs' offense isn't ticking fully. Green Bay's defense is playing, again, probably the best they've played this season right now. Could it go up in smoke, and could Patrick Mahomes go into Green Bay and win by a touchdown? Certainly. But I think if you to watch both teams, since the midpoint of the season, I think you'd struggle to pick Green Bay as a 6-point underdog here at home. I think a lot of it is kind of reputational here that the Chiefs are favoured because it's the Chiefs, or they're favoured by 6, in a tough road game because it's the Chiefs. I don't think they're really performing quite like a 6-point favourite right now. The defense is still good, but I think they can be attacked. And yeah, like I said, not my favourite underdog I've ever picked, but I think there's a lot of points where Green Bay can come out and attack the Chiefs, and I think can probably get to Patrick Mahomes and slow him down.
Yeah, back-to-back prime, I suppose, or spotlight games for Jordan Love and the Packers after Thanksgiving. They've had the 10 days off. Could be, does he again, when they're the only show in town and the only game on, does he have another huge performance? It's a real interesting game. I always struggled to pick it. I think I picked the Packers for ours, but I'm not wildly confident in it. I don't know. We talked about last week. Rashee Rice performance. Are we going to get the Chiefs that have got a wide receiver? They ran the ball pretty well. Pacheco is rolling. Kelsey had a pretty decent game last week. Are they going to just start getting things going? This run towards the end of the season now and go kind of get that number 1 seed clinched. It's not going to be easy, but yeah, I don't know. It feels like this is the time where they maybe just start to turn it on. Yeah,
and I think crucially, if the Chiefs win by a field goal, this covers. And it doesn't feel like the Chiefs are in the spirit of blowing teams out right now. I think the Packers are playing better than the Raiders did, who obviously the Chiefs covered against on Sunday. But, the Packers just need to keep it close here to cover the spread. 6 points is quite a lot, I think, as a home underdog.
Yeah, cool. I haven't got it. I have no stats for this. I've not even got one. I couldn't find one that was worth talking about.
Oh, I think I had one. What was my...
Well, while you're trying to find that,
yeah.
Public money's leaning to the over, which will tie us in nicely when we come back to it in a second. So actually, yeah, I'll keep my stat.
Where was it?
Good podcasting, this. Silent.
It's annoying because I looked up some of the stat and it took me off my screen. Is this going to be us? I mean, I've got them in the over, so we'll touch on it in a minute. We'll see what did Joe take as the underdog here.
Yeah, so Joe took the Titans. It's +1, so it's it's almost that pick'em situation. Colts at Titans. Again, I've really struggled with this one. I think obviously Colts are in a wild card position at the minute. Need to keep picking up wins. This will be one that they've got on the schedule. Thinking this absolutely game we should be winning. Titans though at home, pretty good. They've not lost at home, specifically in Nashville. It's the home game at Spurs against the Ravens, but they've not lost at home in Nashville. And I think their home games again, probably this will include the other one. Where is it? My notes are such a mess this week. Colts Titans. Titans are 4-1. Titans are 4-1 against the spread versus the Colts. The last 5 times they've played. Obviously, they play very regularly. This is a division game. Also, does lean to the if you're not sure, if you've got a division game and the home team's the underdog, take that. But it's only a point. Yeah,
and Jonathan Taylor out for the Colts. Zach Moss has obviously played absolutely fine, but he's not Jonathan Taylor. In what Jonathan Taylor can do in all aspects of the game. Zach Moss is much more one-dimensional, a good runner, but it's obviously a loss to not have him there. Very tough one to call. I went with the Colts but it was a really tough one.
Yeah. Also, Colts, pretty good road team in 2023, 4-1 against the spread on the road in 2023. Overs, I've gone Niners, Eagles. I wouldn't have done this if this was a Sunday Night Football or Monday Night Football game. Eagles seem to get down, be down at halftime and then have to come back in the second half. So I think there'll be enough points there. It's 47, which is a lot, but we've seen the last week end up being a bit of a shootout, and I don't think it'll get as crazy as that. But yeah, I think we can get to 47.
Yeah, I think that's certainly doable, and you might end up with a fifth quarter as well to get it.
Yeah, but I think 27-24, I can see that, something like that. I think, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely not crazy.
To hit the over, both offenses are really strong. Feels like the Niners are back in the groove as well after kind of real slowing down. They missed Trent Williams, didn't they? And everything, funnily enough, as soon as he comes back, everything else has come back and they've been on form. So yeah, I can see this, and Eagles can score quickly as well. I just really like that one as an over. The stat that I saved for that one was that in the last 20 home games for the Philadelphia Eagles, the over is 15-5.
Very nice.
Points at the link.
And something that I touched on earlier as a bet I like was the 49ers to win the first half. Essentially, a bet you might like if you fancy the Eagles to come back strong in the second half is 49ers halftime, Eagles full time plus 750.
Yeah, good value there.
Yeah, because that's certainly in play.
Definitely, yeah. Cool. Bro, if you found your stat for the Chiefs.
I have, yeah. I think it's a good one. I think you'll like it.
Go for it.
So, the one thing I hate is it's on Sunday Night Football, but we can't do anything about that. 42, I don't think is a huge number here. In the Patrick Mahomes era, when the Chiefs have been on the road and favored by 6 or more points, the over is 13-6.
Oh, cool. Nice.
So I told you it was a good one. I just had to find it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought that was a good one. I think, again, Green Bay are going to put up points. Have been doing it recently. And 42 is not a crazy number. Again, 47 might have been a bit more touch and go, but, 23-20 games doesn't seem unrealistic.
Yeah, cool. Good one. Hopefully we'll get a good one. Sunday Night Football. Would you? I don't know what Joe's thinking here. Panthers at Buccaneers over 37.
Yeah, it wasn't on my shortlist.
Do we think he's gone for interim head coach bounce?
He must be.
Maybe freeze up the offense a little bit, and then if you can, if they score, you get Baker in a bit of a shootout sort of situation. Is that his thinking?
I mean, he's not here to say. I was struggling to see how many points does he think Baker's going to score? What I do like here is a fantasy game day option in lieu of just second guessing what Joe's thinking. Rashad White, I think, the Panthers are a run game funnel, essentially. Derrick Henry put 2 touchdowns and 70-plus yards on them last week. Rashad White gets the dream volume you want in a running back. He's not the best running back in the league, certainly, but the Bucs use him like he's Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
I think, again, we're talking about putting Tyreek Hill and Tua in. Rashad White, I'm thinking, isn't going to be cheap, but he's going to be lower than Christian McCaffrey, certainly, and I think this is a dream kind of matchup for him.
5,600, which,
it's certainly discounted.
Yeah, a lot of premium options. His price has been going up and up and up, though. Just on the back of last 4 Bucs home games have all hit the under. I mean, is it just 'cause it's a low number? I don't know. It
is a low number, but again, I can see the Bucs getting to 20, but I mean, what number do we think the Panthers get to realistically? 14? It feels optimistic. Yeah. 17 feels like a big ask.
Both these sides are 3-8. Oh, sorry, 8 and the unders hit 8-3. He's 8-3 in both of their games so far this year. That was terribly delivered, but they're both under teams, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, not surprising watching them.
The public money is interesting on this one for the over. So you've got 87% of the bets and 67% of the money's on the over 37. Only 13% of the bets, but 33% of the money's on the under. I think that's where the sharp money is, just because it's high value money to bets. Tends to be the case. The bigger bettors, smarter guys and gals that then.
Yeah, and I know you were saying there about being 3-8 for the over, but the Panthers at home have only actually been over once this year.
Panthers are at home.
At Tampa. Why do I get mixed up with Florida every other week?
I don't know.
But I mean, it's pretty close anyway, and the Panthers under hit at home every single game.
It's kind of close,
Every single game this season. On the road, I'm sure it's not much better. Probably 3 of them have hit.
Probably 2, I guess, if they're all 3-8 against the over,
Well, there was none
right.
of them, so
let's move on.
3-3 on the road, not too bad actually.
That'll be right. That'll be Joe's thought process.
Yeah.
Well, I've completely lost my train of thought.
You have picked at the Rams, the Browns under 40.
Browns at Rams under 40. Yeah. Browns. Back to PJ Walker. DTR still in concussion protocol. Yeah. I just think they're going to struggle, aren't they? They're not going to move the ball.
Yeah, no strong pushback from me, and I don't think the Rams are going to. Cooper Kupp's looking tired and older, sadly. Puka Nakua's getting targets, but not hundreds of them. I think Kyren Williams probably has another big volume game here. And, if Myles Garrett misses out, Kyren Williams could be a great play. I don't think I'd have him in Fantasy Gameday just because the price probably is going to be too bad for the matchup. But I don't think the Rams are putting up 25 points here. I think this is a really good underpick, truthfully.
Yeah, last 4 Rams home games have hit the under as well. Although, weirdly, the last 6 Browns road games have all hit the over.
They've had some really weird road games. So that Indianapolis one a few weeks ago, it seems to just have these random points explosions, but
the Baltimore
they're getting harder to see.
Yeah, I'm not seeing that. And I think they're going to struggle to move the ball. And I think when we're going to see the defense stepping back a bit, I think Myles Garrett is he not? But anyway, I think they're so reliant on them to keep them in the game.
Yeah.
I think it'll be low scoring. 21, 24, 3, 24, 6, something like that. I don't know. Yeah, I think it'll comfortably under. I really like the Rams to win this game anyway. And then look at. All of a sudden, somebody's got to get this. We've been saying somebody's got to get that 7th slot in the NFC. Well, actually, with the way the Seahawks are going, somebody's got to get the 6th and 7th. Because, it'll be likely the Cowboys in at 5, possibly the Eagles if they, if the Cowboys find a way to win that division. But outside of that, it's, who do you go down as far to? The Saints, we just talked about Tampa in another game. Tampa beat the Bucs. They're in it again. And Tampa beat the Bucs. The Bucs beat the Panthers.
Yeah.
And they're banging it again. And, you've got Saints at 5 wins. Rams, they would get to 6 wins. The Vikings and Seahawks have only got 6 wins. So, I think we're going to see the Rams in the playoffs.
I can see it. Yeah, I think it's more to the point of I certainly can't rule it out because it's 3 wins, really.
He's got, they've got the quarterback. Out of all those teams, they've got the quarterback I would want.
Yep. And Cooper Kupp, he's looked slow, he's looked sluggish last couple of weeks. I wouldn't be stunned if Cooper Kupp gets 11 catches here and he's back to normal. It wouldn't surprise me. Yeah. Puka Nacua, I still think is a really, really good talent. And Kyron Williams is, playing like a top 5 running back in the league.
Yeah. And then, the defense, Aaron Donald can take over a game at any given moment. So, yeah.
And what defense do you need against PJ Walker, Joe Flacco, and DTR? Pick all 3. It doesn't matter which one you pick, really. There isn't a good option there.
Oh, dear. Are we going to see Joe Flacco this week? I don't know if he's been activated.
I wouldn't be surprised. He's taking first-team snaps behind PJ Walker, but it's because DTR's in the concussion protocol.
Yeah. Interesting. Byron, you're on the Atlanta Falcons and Jets. This is going to be an awful game, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it's one thing to cover the over-under when you've got Mike McDaniel going nuts on the other side and Tim Boyle throwing Hail Marys that go for 6 the wrong direction. I mean, I struggle to see the Jets getting 10 points here unless Breece Hall smashes through just Atlanta single-handedly almost, and they don't give quarter of his rushing attempts to Tim Boyle. Jets feel like a broken team. I know Aaron Rodgers has come off the IR today. He's not going to be ready for Sunday, though, certainly.
No, he's ready to practice. He's been cleared to practice. So,
video of him throwing in practice.
Let's play this out. Jets find a way to win this game, 5-7.
Mm-hmm.
You've got. I wasn't prepared for this bit. You've then got. So the teams all chasing that 7th slot are all kind of 6 wins. So really looking at the Bills, Broncos, Texans, Colts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jets have to play the Bills. Pretty sure.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get the schedule up, but I'm making an absolute mess of it. They have to play the Texans next week. So they've got the Falcons at home, Texans at home. At what point do you go? If they win both of those games, if they find wins both those games, and they're at 6 wins, maybe 1 game back, you've got the Dolphins in Miami. And then you finish off Commanders, Browns, Patriots.
Yeah, I mean, that's a 3-game winning streak if you have a quarterback.
If you're at 6 wins, do you go Christmas? It's Christmas Eve against the Commanders. You're talking like still 3.5 weeks. Do you throw him in going, actually, if we can win them 3 games, we still need stuff to go our way.
Yeah.
But we're 9-8 and we could sneak in the back door.
If he's fit, yeah.
Wild.
Of course you do, if he's fit. But anyway, for this week, I don't think it much matters. And this is such an ugly game.
I also think they can win this game as well, not just saying if they do. I know the Falcons beat the Saints last week, but the Atlanta Falcons are terrible.
They're both terrible, yeah. Like, that's why 34 is such an ugly low number, but I don't really mind taking it because do I think either team gets to 20? I mean, this is the exact same thing I said about Steelers Browns a few weeks ago when it was 33, and I hated taking that number. But which of these teams gets to 20 points?
Yeah.
I mean, the Jets defense is still really good. The Jets offense is still putrid. Who gets to 20 points? Who gets to 15? Since the start of last season, the Jets are 8-3 as at home as an underdog on the under. I just don't see where the points are. If this ends up being a 40-point game, I'm not going to say I'm going to shave my head or anything ludicrous, but I do not see where either team gets 3 touchdown drives from.
Yeah.
Bijan Robinson and Breece Hall go nuts in a one-on-one matchup, essentially. Like, that's the only way I see it happening, and I don't think either defense is. Both know that you just need to stop the run, essentially.
Yeah.
So surely you focus on it.
Yeah, should be a bad one. Hopefully I'm wrong though, because we're going to see more good games. Joe's on Cardinals Steelers. I think I mentioned the Steelers home unders. The Steelers start when they're home favorite. The under is ridiculous.
Yeah, and the Cardinals aren't showing much of anything. Kyler's kind of looking fun in fantasy, and he's got his running back, but between 10 and 19 yards, kind of your bread and butter as a QB. He's completing a third of his passes since he came back. He's not, he's not looking like an elite option yet. And I think I quite like this as an under as well, because I just think the Steelers are, it feels like this could be again, 17-10 win.
Yeah.
Not high scoring, but like relatively comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah. I think again, Steelers.
Matty backed me on the Falcons as well. I'm guessing he said similar.
Putrid game is how it was pitched. Let's move on then to our ATS picks. Let's talk. We've already talked about it. Thursday Night Football, Seahawks +9 on the road against Dallas against the Cowboys. We're all on the Dallas Cowboys. This would be the best team that the Cowboys have beat, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
If we're going to say that they are slightly better than the Rams.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah. 9 points is a lot.
Yeah.
But I don't really have any worries about it. Kenneth Walker's doubtful again. Charbonnet, I think, could be a good player prop as the receptions aren't out yet. But I think, again, he's probably going to get 4 or 5 receptions just through dump-offs alone. But yeah, Dallas as a home favourite, 6 or more, 13-11 against the spread. I don't really have any worries about this one. I do love when you get it happens with Dallas. I don't know if it's every season, but it feels like it's more seasons where they do Thursday to Thursday against another team who played on Thanksgiving. And I always just think it's like the only time you ever get it in a season. I always think it's like a little nice little quirk in the schedule.
Yeah. So you say Charbonnet rush attempts, was that your
receptions?
Reception. Sorry, apologies.
I think he's a good dump off target for Gino. I think he got 4 or 5 last week, and it was a 3.5 point line.
Player receptions. Why is it so low down the list? Charbonnet over under 3.5.
Yeah, I would take the over. I think he can get 5 or 6
over
probably.
Plus 110. Yeah, I think over. I think very similar. So I think this will fall into the category of actually all the Seahawks. And I wouldn't say Seahawks are a bad team. They're as good as people make them out to be, or have made them out to be. I think we're seeing that now. But I had a pretty accurate take on the Seahawks. Quite happy with that take. They're 6-5 now. Hopefully they'll be 6-6. But I've lost my train of thought. I don't think it'll be quite the annihilation that we've seen of Dallas of 40-45, but I think it'll be pretty comfortable. And I guess really struggling to see Seattle scoring a lot. The defense for Dallas is back at it, and offensively, Dak's talked about Dak's arguably playing the best football of his entire career. So he's been on fire these last 6 to 8 weeks. So I think the rushing game for Dallas is coming back. Pollard seems to be kind of inching back to what we like to see from Tony Pollard. So hopefully that continues, because the Seahawks aren't great against the run.
Yeah, and I think the Seahawks. Dallas's rush and Seahawks offensive line issues it's another reason again why I like the Charbonnet dump off attempts, because I just think Gino's not going to get time to try and wait for DK Metcalf to get open downfield. He's going to have to get rid of that ball quicker than he would like to, and I think that lends itself to dump offs essentially with no Kenneth Walker. I think that's going to be a Charbonnet.
Yeah, I think we've seen Pollard go like 70-odd yards back-to-back weeks. His line's 63.
And he looks better as well. Like even just the eye test, like he looks to be moving a little more fluidly, which is a huge boost because they need a good running game.
I feel like he's going to break a big one soon, one of those huge plays. And not always necessarily happen in the running game. And Tony Pollard, of course, is very effective in the passing game as well. He's over 63. The over-under rushing yards for Tony Pollard, 63.5, which I like. The rush receiving yards for Pollard is 88.5. Don't know. I might stick to the rushing yards.
Yeah.
Tony Pollard, but I like that one. Cowboys have won 13 straight at home. They're 11-2 against the spread over that run, and the over is 9-4 in that 13-game span. So, I like the over. I just think the over is just a little bit of a stretch for me this time, just because
it is a lot.
I don't think Dallas is going to score 40.
Yeah.
If I was confident that Dallas would score 40, then I'd go for the over. But
I would think so, because 47.5.
Yeah. Oh, the Seahawks might not score.
They might not, but I mean, 7.5 isn't asking much.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So stay clear of that. But yeah, Cowboys are wagging at home. We're all in the Pittsburgh Steelers. We've talked about that game a little bit. The number scares me though. 5.5 scares me with Pittsburgh.
It scared me a little too, I must say. It was one where I was really struggling, but again, I just struggle to see the Cardinals getting many points, really. And I think, again, like I wouldn't be surprised to see a 17-10, 17-7 win for the Steelers. And I'd be really surprised to see the Cardinals get to 20.
Yeah. That Steelers, defense, had fun with Jake Browning last week.
Yeah.
And I think what we might see is some of that offensive production that we saw last week continue and turn into points this week.
Yeah, agree.
Yeah, obviously they brought that streak of 59 games without 400 yards worth of offense, 400 yards of offense in the NFL. So, I think we might see some points from Pittsburgh this week. Still probably not a lot, but maybe more than 20, which would be nice for the people in Pittsburgh. We're all in the Atlanta Falcons. I think the Jets might be. I think the Jets can win this game. I just did not like putting the Jets down in the table.
If you tell me that Trevor Siemian comes in, I'm much more confident in the Jets. But
that's fair.
I have so little faith in Robert Saleh doing anything that makes sense.
Yeah. I think we talked about it today. I think he's at risk of coaching himself out of a job.
I fully agree, yeah.
I think there's a lot of questionable decision making, and tough because he's been put. Well, not he's been put in. He's part of the reason why they've been put in that situation. But it's not all down to him, obviously. But
and he's a defensive coach, and his defense is, year on year, really good.
Yeah,
but head coach has bigger responsibilities than that.
Absolutely. Broncos, Texans. We've talked about this game. I'm on Denver plus 3.5. Byron and Joe both on the Texans. To stop the juggernaut that is the Denver Broncos.
Someone's got to stop them.
Yeah, someone does have to stop them. Maybe they don't. Maybe they just win every game and win the Super Bowl.
I will apologize to Sean Payton if he does so.
It'd be wild. Detroit. Yeah, we're all in Detroit. -4. No faith in the New Orleans Saints. Been bashing the Saints quite a lot the last few weeks. I do feel bad, as I know we have one listener who's a very big New Orleans Saints fan, so I do feel bad for them. Fire Dennis Allen and find a way to get out of that Derek Carr contract would be my advice.
2026 will be better.
Yeah, 2026 may be better. Might have some cap room. Probably not. We're all on the Lions, we split, me and Byron on the Indianapolis Colts -1 against Tennessee. We've touched on this game. Joe's on the Titans. Close one. Again, this one scares me. New England are going to win this game and win this game outright, aren't they? We're all on the Chargers -6 against the Patriots. I needed some underdogs, and I was so tempted to put the Patriots, but I don't know who's going to start at quarterback.
I think it's going to be Bailey Zappi. And they asked Juju Schuster today what is the best thing about Bailey Zappi as a quarterback, and Juju said that he's good looking. And then praise his decision making afterwards. A fantasy game day pick if he's cheap enough. Ramondre Stevenson's been on a bit of a tear in terms of Patriots recently. He's getting 100 yards, I think, back-to-back weeks, getting touchdowns again. If he's cheap, I don't mind putting Ramondre in there. I don't know how cheap he is, though. I haven't looked at any pricing yet, I must say. So
4,200. He's 2 out of the last 3 weeks. He's got more than 20 fantasy points.
Yeah, and the Chargers ain't stopping much. The more I think about this game, the less good I feel about it.
If the Patriots win this, do you think the Chargers will pull the trigger on Staley?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it... When we done the losers yesterday, winners and losers, I had Brandon Staley as a loser again, and I just had... Sometimes I'll put a couple of little notes for why. And I had Matt Canada's 400, but we covered it just before, so I didn't bother. I just said Matt Canada. But with Brandon Staley, all I had was all caps the word baby, because he's intolerable right now. He's so passive aggressive to journalists who are asking absolutely fair questions, because his coaching is disgraceful. He's getting the worst out of all of his players.
Yeah.
We've had 2 coaches fired in season. I don't really know why Brandon still is there now. He's not going to be there next season. He's doing no good being there. Just pull the plug and fire him. Give Kellen Moore 5 weeks to see what he can do as a head coach. I'd bring anybody in. Just Staley's is a net negative.
Yeah, I read an article this afternoon on my lunch. I'll quote the source. It's from Benjamin Solak. I don't know if you're familiar with him.
Yeah, I love Benjamin Solak. Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, NFL staff writer at The Ringer, and he wrote a article about every mistake the Chargers made in wasting Justin Herbert's rookie deal.
Wow, and you managed to read that on a lunch break. I thought that'd be a 2-day affair. I mean, I haven't read it, but yeah, I'll be seeking it out. Benjamin Solak's one of my favorite newer NFL writers, and the feelings of the Justin Herbert Chargers. I mean, I love Justin Herbert unabashedly, but it's also one of my favorite subjects of how they've let Justin Herbert down. So that sounds like an absolute dream matchup. And I'll be seeking it out today to read. Yeah,
I've just sent it you.
Thanks very much.
Yeah. Again, just like the Jets, Patriots could stumble into a win here.
They absolutely could. I hate this pick.
We talked about it the other day, but that hurts them. It really does hurt them. If they win a couple of games, I think it really does hurt them.
Yep, it will do.
Yeah.
And I don't think
nobody goes out to lose, but
unless they, win out the rest of the season as well, I think Belichick's gone. Again, I said it in the summer, it was a hot take then, and it's becoming less and less hot by the week, it feels like. But I think 1 or 2 wins isn't going to be enough to change the trajectory on his career in New England. But nobody goes out to lose games, like you say. And I kind of feel like, I pick the Chargers here, and, you kind of say you hated picking it, I hated picking it, and the more I talk about it, the more I hate it.
Shall we just move on?
Yeah.
We're all on the
Dolphins. This is a good pick, yeah.
We're all on the Dolphins minus 9.5 against Washington. We've touched on that already. I've taken the Panthers plus 5.5 against Tampa Bay. I don't necessarily win it. I think this one might be quite low scoring, which is why I've just taken the 5.5. I've gone for the head coaching bump.
Yeah, I can see that.
The interim head coach bump.
I can see them winning this game more than I can see them scoring 24 points to get to 37.
Yeah. I almost had another Third Reich joke about because it's the third NFL coach firing, so the third. Yeah, anyway, but you know what? I'll stop myself.
Yeah, we've got the Rams as well, did you say?
Yeah, Byron and Joe both in the books. Yeah, we're all on the Rams as a favourite, minus 3.5. Yeah, I think the Rams win this one comfortably, maybe similar to last week, how the Broncos beat the Browns, and the Rams are right in the mix for the NFC wildcard playoffs, which we talked about. We've talked ad nauseum around the Eagles and 49ers. Byron and Joe have gone for the Niners. I'm on the Eagles just because until they lose one of these games, until they show me they're capable of losing one of these games, which at the minute they're not. Yeah, I'm just going to ride them. That's 2.5 point favorite at home. I would love the 3, but no, yeah. I don't know. I mean, I want them to lose, obviously, but if they don't and they're going to win, I might as well get one up on you guys.
Might as well, yeah.
Well, that's it. Me and Byron are on Green Bay plus 6 at home to the Kansas City Chiefs, and we're all on the Jacksonville Jaguars to cover the 8.5 against the Cincinnati Bengals. That's so there's a gap.
That should have been such a great Monday Night Football game.
Yeah, we've been robbed of loads.
Yeah,
because I think we've still
with the
got
Jets as well.
Yeah, who else have the Bengals got? The Bengals have got the Chiefs on in week 17, which would have been great.
Yeah. I think they have a great week 18 game as well, which might not have been picked as a Sunday night because depending on how the schedule went. But that's such a good end of season schedule. And
the run that they've got. So they've got the Jaguars, which would have had huge seeding implications. You're assuming that the Bengals might have found another win or two. Steelers, which have been huge within the division. Yeah. Chiefs on New Year's Eve. Browns to finish week 18. Which could have been a battle for who gets in as wild card. So, we've been robbed of some of those games.
We are the victims here.
Yeah, absolutely. Get well soon, Joe Burrow's wrist. So in our ATS competition, so we're spread out a little bit now. So I'm 8 behind Joe. He had a good week, didn't he? 8 behind Joe. Byron, you're 3 behind Joe. with 6 weeks to go. Yeah, 6 weeks to go.
Yeah, and hopefully we have some more weeks ahead that have more differences, because this one's going to be tough to claw back anything this week.
Yeah, we are a lot the same this week.
Yeah.
Well, you and Joe are. Yeah, I've got quite a few differences this week. That's what I need to do, though. I'm 8 behind. I need to find a way to
go down swinging.
Go down swinging, absolutely. That's it. We're done. We're done pretty quick this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a limit after a mammoth.
5 weeks and no Joe.
Yeah, that's it. That's the common denominator. So yeah, an hour and 10 plus the half an hour with Matty. Thanks once again to Matty from around NFL Around the UK show. Give him a follow at Smithster99 over on Twitter or X. As a reminder, give us a follow. Good Teams Win Great Teams cover over on Spotify. If you're not following us already, then give us a follow on our Twitter, X, Instagram, YouTube, and also TikTok at GTW_GTC. If you follow along on the TikTok, you'll see the wonderful Charlie picks. So Charlie, the dog, is going to be picking Thursday Night Football again. He's desperately trying to get back to 500. Is he desperate, or does he not give a shit?
Oh no, he seems really eager. I mean, after Thanksgiving, he's been cocky all week. He's 2-1, and he celebrated actually. I think he must have had a parlay on his double there, because he got himself a electric heated blanket for the winter. So right today, and he's very cozy.
Nice. Is he going to be a struggle getting him out of the blanket to do the pick?
I mean, he's asleep in it right now, yeah. So I might have to nudge him tomorrow to get a treat. We'll see.
Well, go follow the TikTok to see the Charlie picks on a Thursday before Thursday Night Football. They are awesome and very cute. Until next time, we'll be back with our Week 13 review early next week. It's been a pleasure, and we'll catch you next week. Enjoy Week 13, everybody.
Cheers.